Canada. What in the absolute hell is going on? Every week, another headline buried by the media makes you wonder if this country's being run by stand-up comedians on laughing gas. Foreign students taking food meant for Canadians. Judges cutting deals for drug traffickers. Government clowns bragging about free healthcare while Canadians die waiting for treatment. And Mark Carney? The man's running this place like it's his private investment portfolio. Grab a coffee, buckle up, because it's time to drag the truth into daylight. Here we have a foreign student showing off how he takes free food from food banks when it's meant for needy Canadians who can't afford food because of these very same people.
आज मैं आ गया हूँ यहाँ पे फ्री फूड इन कनाडा, क्योंकि कनाडा के अंदर आपको अगर आप स्टूडेंट हो तो फ्री फूड आपको प्रोवाइड किया जाता है। तो मैंने कुछ दिन पहले रजिस्टर्ड किया था एज अ स्टूडेंट और उनका मेल आया था कि आप लेने आ जाओ। तो ये सारी चीज़ें मुझे उन लोगों ने दी है यहाँ पे फ्री फूड इन कनाडा में। सो मैं आपको इन डिटेल बताता हूँ कि इसके अंदर सब क्या क्या है।
सो ये है 1 kg आटा, सो ये है 1 kg राइस, 1 किलो दाल और ये 3 चाय का है और ये 2 लाइफ बॉय सोप और ये है शैम्पू डॉ का और ये हेयर वैक्स है और ये भी ऑयल एंड शैम्पू टाइप है। ये मसूल की दाल है और ये है शुगर। सो इतनी चीज़ कनाडा में अगर आप
If this kind of nonsense ticks you off, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Mac's Opinion so more Canadians wake up to what's really happening. And drop a comment below with what you think about this madness. Another immigrant student abusing Canada's generosity by taking food from food banks meant for needy Canadians. Why is this being allowed? They're supposed to prove they can support themselves before they come to Canada to study. They're not supposed to be using food banks.
I save hundreds of bucks every month in food and groceries. All these groceries for this week I got free. This for everyone, all the students. They even have hot foods at our university. यहाँ पे most of the universities and colleges में food banks होते हैं, which are run by trusts, churches या फिर non-profit organizations. Let me show you what I got this week. You can take as much as you want. सारे basic fruits and vegetables, bread, sauces, pastas and canned vegetables, which is subject to availability. This has been very helpful to me as a student. Check with your seniors or university websites and you'll get the location of the food banks.
Can you believe this? Carney's immigration department is advertising Canada's free healthcare to the world, trying to increase immigration levels while 6.5 million Canadians can't even see a family doctor. Emergency rooms are closing because there's no capacity, and patients are dying waiting for care. Instead of fixing the crisis at home, the Liberals are running international ads bragging about a broken system to boost immigration numbers. This is what happens when a government floods the system with out-of-control immigration while ignoring healthcare capacity. It's not fair to Canadians waiting for care, and it's not fair to newcomers being sold a false bill of goods. Compassion has to consider capacity. IRCC is running ads inviting people to immigrate to Canada, but there's a painful irony they won't mention. Medical Assistance in Dying, MAID, was introduced in 2016 as a compassionate option for the terminally ill with no hope of recovery. Yet, less than a decade later, over 60,000 Canadians have died through the program, one of the highest rates in the world. What was billed as mercy has become a terrible symptom of a collapsing healthcare system, hospitals stretched beyond capacity, exhausted nurses and doctors, and patients waiting months or years for basic treatment. When people start choosing death because they can't access care, that's not compassion, it's surrender. Before this government spends millions inviting more people to come, it should first fix the system so those already here can truly live. Complete liberal obliviousness. A judge reduced the sentence of a Brampton man from Jamaica caught with cocaine while out on bail for fentanyl trafficking and gun convictions, citing systemic discrimination and because he would be deported if sentenced to over 6 months. I'm so sick of this garbage. Edmonton police bust a 60,000 plant opium poppy grow operation, Canada's second largest seizure. The 2-day investigation led to a field valued between $160,000 and $500,000. The accused, Sukhdeep Dhanawa, 42, Sandeep Dandiwal, 33, Gurpreet Singh, 30, and Kulwinder Singh, 40, are each charged with producing a controlled substance. This is what happens when we import the third world. We get third world criminal behavior instead of real skills. Check out this one from social media detective Mario Zelaya. DEI mandatory training. He shares what a person at the Canadian Mint told him. They need to book a hotel and a flight to attend a native art exhibit and then a drag brunch. On our dime.
What I'm about to share with you isn't anywhere in the media, and I'm going to tell you why it's important for us to know about it and talk about it. Give me 1 second, it's good. It starts off with this. Conservatives have launched a petition to end all DEI programs and restore merit. The idea is to push back against the wave of woke DEI initiatives that exist within our government. Those who don't know, DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And these programs, they cost $1 billion. In fact, that $1 billion has been spent across 29 departments and agencies since 2016. I'm going to show you something that is currently being done by the government on your dime. My girlfriend works for the Canadian Mint, and she has to attend 2 DEI meetings that are apparently mandatory. And I put mandatory in quotations because they're not so much meetings, they're field trips. First DEI meeting she has to go to is a native art exhibit, which is, by the way, in Ottawa. And we live in Toronto. So she has to book a flight and hotel to go attend this on taxpayer dime. The second one that she has to attend, it's a drag brunch. So yeah, if I'm hiring someone for a public servant, I'm getting them training specifically for their job and task at hand. This is a massive waste of resources. It's a massive waste of money. Multiply that person by tens of thousands. And then take that and imagine it embedded within our education systems. Do you see where this is going? This is literally indoctrination. DEI must end. Things must be earned on merit. We must not be forcing our government employees to take part in DEI programs, let alone attend drag brunches. Completely unacceptable. There's nothing inclusive about it. This is not compassion. This is plain insanity.
We pay for this nonsense. What do drag brunches have to do with their job at the Canadian Mint? End DEI now. End DEI forever. Baltej Sandhu of Brampton charged with attempted homicide, possession of a loaded firearm, kidnapping, and allegedly torturing a man inside a makeshift lair in a U-Haul van in Orillia. Granted bail. Fire these judges. Deport these parasites. Seriously? The Liberal government is spending $3 million taxpayer dollars to subsidize female farmers in Nicaragua because of climate change, and another $118 million to an African development bank in Tunisia. Meanwhile, Canadians are struggling to make ends meet. And yet, Mark Carney tells Canadians they'll need to make sacrifices in the new budget. More sacrifices! As if unemployment hasn't skyrocketed and tens of thousands are losing their jobs and standing in food bank lineups. Canadians need to sacrifice Mark Carney and his liberal clowns to the vacuum of fucking space. That's what we need to sacrifice. Canada's Minister of Health, Marjorie Michel, seems to have a common trait. Ignore every legitimate question that makes her uncomfortable because she knows the truth would expose their incompetence. Who do these people think they are? You're public servants. You answer to Canadians. We want real answers, Minister. This is infuriating.
Thank you, Minister, for agreeing to accredit Rebel News. I very much appreciate your dedication to freedom of the press. I have a question about the ostrich farm. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to ask about the lawsuit because I don't want you to talk about anything that are before the courts. But there was a letter, and I noticed in the statement you talk about Canada-U.S. cooperation. I know that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your U.S. counterpart, has written saying he thinks that there's some medical research value in these ostriches because they had avian flu, but then have recovered and are now immune. In fact, he's offered to do the research and even to pay for it. It seems to me that we need allies around Trump's cabinet table. And if you could throw him a bone and say, sure, Secretary Kennedy, you can study these birds, it's sort of no skin off Canada's nose. And don't you think it would be helpful to have an ally in Trump's cabinet when we're doing our trade negotiations?
Prochaine question, merci.
That's my question. Don't you think it would be helpful to have a friend?
Next reporter, merci.
Oh, you're not going to answer, Minister?
Prochaine question, merci.
I don't understand. Did I do something wrong?
Next question, thank you.
Minister, did I miss an answer? I don't get it. Okay, I'll sit down. I guess it's question period, not answer period.
Merci beaucoup.
Only in Canada can you work your whole life, own your home for 25 years, pay property taxes every year, only for the government to say it isn't yours because 125 years ago someone used to pick berries there. At some point, every piece of land belonged to someone else. This will upend the very fabric of land ownership in Canada. Congrats! You worked your whole life to buy a home, but someone's great-grandparents might have fished nearby 150 years ago, so the court says it's not really yours. Welcome to BC 2025. This next one's absolutely next-level shocking. Proof of how cold and heartless the Liberal government has become. Watch this exchange in Parliament between Conservative MP Garnet Genuis and Krista Carr, Executive Director for Inclusion Canada. They're talking about MAID, medical assistance in dying, and pushing it like a drug dealer would push their garbage on their victims. Over 60,000 Canadians already gone under this program. Do they have a quota to reach or something?
That's very striking, and I don't want to be accused of putting words in your mouth, but it sounds like what I'm hearing you saying is that people who have disabilities are interacting with healthcare, seeking other kinds of public services, are proactively being offered MAID when they're seeking completely different services. Is that?
That is correct.
Okay,
that is what I am saying.
Is that common? Are you hearing about that a lot, or is it weekly? Mm-hmm. Okay, you're hearing weekly complaints from people who live with disabilities who are seeking other kinds of services, and someone says to them, "Well, have you thought about MAID?"
Yes. We had to grab our IDs, and that we would be at the front gate and ID'd and questioned, and then some returned to work and some didn't.
The Alberta government is not playing games. Deportations and local immigration enforcement are now a reality on Alberta streets. Illegal immigrants are worried because Alberta has become the first place in Canada to actually enforce immigration law. You've got ICE-style enforcement happening right there, right now in Alberta. A massive construction site in Calgary, Alberta's largest city, was hit with a surprise immigration check. Local authorities and federal agents working together suspected there were undocumented workers on site. Maybe someone tipped them off. Maybe it was an inside report. What matters is that it happened.
There was a lot of concern, a lot of people who were mad. A lot of people here were in disbelief.
Premier Danielle Smith has said she'd do everything within her power to protect Alberta workers and crack down on abuse of the system. Immigration enforcement is federal, but she's proving provinces can still act. Could this be what she meant when she promised action? Calgary police even took part. What do you think? Of course, the bleeding hearts are already making excuses for illegal behavior, virtue signaling, instead of facing reality. Then there are the so-called non-profits and TV lawyers who profit from keeping the system broken. They ignore how it hurts legal immigrants and citizens competing for the same jobs. Canada's full of people overstaying visas, arriving as students and never showing up to class, or staying on fake work permits. Meanwhile, young Canadians can't find decent jobs. Common sense and sound policy have become rare commodities in this country. So, did they find any? At some point, a society has to remember that government exists to serve its people. But lately, ours seems to serve everyone else first. When thousands of young Canadians are unemployed while foreign workers flood in to take their place, that's failure, pure and simple. So yes, it's refreshing to see enforcement finally happening somewhere, even if the rest of the country is still asleep. Every province should be protecting its own people. Now here's something new. Someone logged into their Service Canada account and discovered a digital ID consent box. You can't even see your CPP or OAS info unless you tick it. Sneaky, right? Although digital ID might sound convenient, who in their right mind trusts this Liberal government with that kind of access after what they did during the trucker protests? A digital ID would make it easier for them to control everything. And that's why we can't have nice things. Canadians open their borders and homes to newcomers, and they repay us by lighting off fireworks in public parking lots, keeping people up at night, and refusing to clean their mess.
आ देख लो दिवाली ते आ देख लो कनाडा यार शर्म कर लो थोड़ी अगर दिवाली मनानी है तो यह साफ तो कर दो एटलीस्ट अगले दिन आके ਤੇ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਬੁਰਾ ਹਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ। ਫਿਰ ਗੋਰੇ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢਣਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਕਹਿਣਗੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਰੇਸਿਜ਼ਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਕਿਆ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਫਿਰ ਇਹ
Diwali fireworks aftermath in Rexdale. In Edmonton, reckless Diwali fireworks sparked a house fire, causing about $175,000 in damage to their neighbor's property. These so-called new Canadians lack any common sense or respect. Can you imagine being this idiot's neighbor and they burn your house down? No respect, no responsibility. This is what happens when basic courtesy goes out the window. Meanwhile, the Canada Border Services Agency is playing tough cop on paper plates. Yes, molded fiber picnic plates from China are apparently the big threat now. While fentanyl and illegal guns pour across the border, CBSA is crusading against dinnerware dumping. Bravo! Tough on takeout trays, soft on the stuff that actually kills. And if that's not enough, the government just handed out over $4 million to promote abortion access for 2 SLGBTQI+ people, migrants, and other underserved groups. Yep, you heard that right. Late last month, the Liberal government awarded over $4.3 million in funding to researchers at the UBC Faculty of Medicine to promote abortion to minorities, as part of over $13 million in funding for pro-abortion groups under the Sexual and Reproductive Health Fund. Not sure how a gay person gets pregnant by accident unless they're lying about being gay. And before the keyboard warriors go crazy over that statement, I'm not poking fun at the gay community. I'm just saying I don't believe gay people are accidentally getting pregnant because of the whole wiener and bun situation that has to happen in these cases. And why are we still handing out our tax dollars to migrants for things like this? Chances are that these migrants will have the procedure done here in Canada and then take off back to their country, sticking Canadians with footing the bill. These Liberals need to go. More taxpayer cash funneled into pet projects while Canadians can barely pay rent. These people never stop finding ways to waste your money. At an Abbotsford school board meeting, parents asking about gender education policies were told to sit down and shut up. When did public servants stop serving the public and start serving themselves? Canada needs a fucking reset.
Parents, concern of parents, hateful and transphobic to raise issue regarding Suzy. Yet he claims that he wants to work with parents. It's a complete lie. It's a lie. You guys don't want to work with parents.
Mr. Barnes, I will not accept that.
Well, that's okay. I'm okay if you don't accept this.
You
That's
may
fine.
take a seat.
I'm going to take a seat.
Thank you.
I'm okay if you don't accept
You have about 2 minutes and 10 seconds, 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, my name is James Davison. Thanks for having me, Chair Wilson. And yeah, you guys had a very professional event today. Thank you. That being said, I am a resident of Abbotsford. I'm also a grandfather of 3 young children in the system. Okay, your education sector. My concern here is for many different reasons. I want the best.
To be a question.
I want the best for our children. Yes, my question is to you specifically,
Certainly.
Chair Wilson. Okay.
Yes.
How many genders do you recognize? And for the record, what are they?
There are many genders. I recognize them all as they are presented to me. Thank you.
If there are many, could you please let me know what they are so I know what's going on?
Mr. Davison, I just remind you that this is not a topic related to the business of the agenda.
It's to do with SOGI, what's happening 1, 2, 3 in the schools, and you're recognizing that. In this office here, I see a Canadian and a British Columbian flag. It's represented well for our province and our country. What's going on in the schools concerns me as a grandfather. Now, I've asked you, you answered, you said many. What are the many?
I'm going to not answer that because
So you're not going to be transparent. You don't want people to know what you actually think. What are you hiding, Chair Wilson?
I'm not hiding anything, and I will ask you to take a seat because that is not a respectful manner in which to ask a question.
Well, you're not answering my question. How else am I supposed to get your attention?
It's not specific to the business
It is
that
to the
was-
business. It's to Jared White has an excellent argument, and I'm so disappointed. At least Roche stands with him for some dialogue.
Thank you.
We need more dialogue from you.
I call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Even in Parliament, Liberal and Bloc members skipped a scheduled Justice Committee meeting. Conservatives showed up ready to work while the others vanished. What a disgraceful start to a new session.
This is the Conservative Justice team. We are here in our room, ready to start a Justice Committee meeting. But colleagues, we're the only ones in this room. We don't have our Liberal chair. We have no Liberal members. We have no Bloc member. We were here sent by Canadians to do a job. And that job is to fix a broken justice system. We're here ready to work. I sent a letter to the chair yesterday asking for a meeting today because it is a regularly scheduled Justice Day. Crickets. Not even the courtesy of a response. Roman, what do you have to say about this?
It is Tuesday afternoon. Justice Committee is supposed to meet. We're here ready to work, and the Liberals are not here. We had another person shot dead in Toronto overnight. We desperately need bail and sentencing reform. We learned from the Toronto police just this week that 1 out of 4 homicides involve a young offender. We desperately need to look at the Young Offenders Act because custodial sentences are limited to 4 years. And where are the Liberals? Liberals are refusing to cooperate with us, and they refuse to engage in any meaningful reform. This is unacceptable.
Amarjeet.
As Larry and Roman said, no one is here from the Liberal or Bloc to discuss. Today was the day already decided to have the Justice Committee meeting. We are here to discuss the concerns of the people. We all know that how important the bail reform is for this country. We have seen chaos every single day, shootings, murders. Every single city is getting impacted by this kind of crimes. And Liberals are not here, Bloc is not here. We are ready to work for them. Unfortunately, they are not here. And we definitely going to work in the interest of the people of Canada and the things that matter most to them to provide justice and bring the bail reform as soon as possible.
Andrew.
I don't know about you gentlemen, but I've had today's meeting on my calendar for more than 3 months. When we were first put on this committee, we were told Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3:30 p.m., that was when we were going to be meeting. And by the way, I should point out, on our first meeting, the Liberals adjourned it after 16 minutes. That was when they moved to adjourn, after 16 minutes, with the promise that we could discuss real justice issues in the fall. So here we are, ready to work. No Liberals here, no response to Larry to even have a meeting to discuss these issues, all from a government which right now is claiming it takes this seriously, which is claiming it's listening to the police and Canadians who have been crying out for action. So we're going to keep forging ahead, but this is quite a disgraceful way to start off the session, especially as a new member.
While the Liberal government continues to focus on the interests of criminals, we in the Justice Committee and the Conservative Party of Canada will fight for you, fight for safer communities and prioritizing the needs of victims. We're ready to work.
Okay, one final clip on how Mark Carney is a lying, skeething shithead and cares only for his own personal assets and not Canadians and the country he's supposed to be serving, which is Canada, in case you haven't been paying attention. Mark Carney is asking us to make sacrifices, yet his spending is out of control. His budget will fund immigrant transition wellness at the expense of our fixed-income seniors. He will continue to build a bloated bureaucracy and foreign aid, which will be unparalleled. Mark Carney tells Canada to prepare for sacrifices, while Brookfield evades over $6.5 billion in taxes. This makes them the largest tax scammer out of Canada's 126 largest corporations. So can this be the first sacrifice there, Marky? Or are all these sacrifices coming from the middle class only?
According to your analysis, or the analysis cited in your report, Brookfield's tax scab in just 5 years, between 2017 to 2021, was over $6.5 billion. Is that right?
That's correct, and that was based on research done by the Canadians for Tax Fairness and by some analysis from the Toronto Star as well.
So it would be fair to say that the extent of Brookfield's tax avoidance, taxes that it should have otherwise paid in Canada in just 5 years, was over $6.5 billion.
Yes, I mean, the tax gap is looking at the statutory rate, and there are some reasons why legitimate reasons why companies pay below that, but that's an indication of a major underpayment of taxes that, in the spirit of the law, should have been paid in Canada to finance public services in Canada.
Yeah, I'd say $6.5 billion is a lot of money. Would it be fair to say that Brookfield is Canada's largest tax dodger amongst corporations?
It has been labeled as such, and if it's not the largest, it's clearly in the very top tier.
Well, your report cites 123 of Canada's largest corporations, and it found that the largest tax gap for 2017 to 21 was none other than Brookfield, right?
Correct.
So there you have it, Canada. Clip after clip, proof after proof that our country is being dismantled piece by piece while the elites laugh. If you're tired of watching your taxes vanish and your country erode, speak up. Comment below with what ticked you off most. Share this video so others see the truth, and make sure you're subscribed to Mac's Opinion, the only place that drags reality into the daylight. Stay loud, stay proud. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!